Hey y'all, welcome to day 30 of our 31 Days of Shadow Work series. I'm Keandra and I'm super excited to have you continuing this journey with me. So we're on our fifth and final week. We have 2 days left of the series where we'll be discussing cultural, generational healing, and moving forward. So each day we're diving into a brand new prompt that is designed to enhance your healing journey. Today's prompt is all about cultural and ancestral roots. So remember, this is a safe space for self-discovery. So take your time, give yourself grace, and be gentle with yourself. Let's get into it. So today's prompt is, where do you feel disconnected from your cultural or ancestral roots? Now, for all my African Americans, this is definitely for you. A lot of times African Americans are told that we don't have culture, we don't have roots, even though everyone around the world wants to be like us. Question is amazing though for African Americans because a lot of us don't know, about our ancestors and don't know about our past cultural experiences. I know specifically in my family, I don't know multiple generations before my grandma. Like, I don't know much about my great grandma or much about my great grandparents or great great grandparents or anything like that. Like, African Americans who have that knowledge of culture in this country, that is such a blessing to have. And if you have that knowledge of culture, of your history, of your roots, that is such a blessing because a lot of us still don't have those things. Like, a lot of us, I know in my family, I think there were like house fires that happened. So a lot of pictures are gone, a lot of memories are gone, a lot of like I said, because there were house fires, like a lot of places where like my parents could have shown me like, hey, this is where we grew up, this is where so and so lived, this is where your uncle, this is like, a lot of those things are gone simply because the houses have burned down, the memories have burned down. No one was being intentional about keeping remnants of our culture and of our history because they were surviving. They were just trying to survive. That's where I feel most disconnected from like my culture or like ancestral roots, is just not knowing the generations before me, like not knowing what their experiences were, not knowing the things that they overcame, not knowing the things that they had in their lifetime. Like, I remember learning recently, my aunt told me recently that my grandma sold some land for like $1,000 or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, we had land. I didn't know that. I'm 30 years old. So at 30 years old, I'm learning that there was land in my family at one point in time. That of course predators were able to get from her because she didn't know any better. Like, my grandma didn't know anything about land ownership or anything like that. And I think that's another reason I feel disconnected from my ancestral roots, is because there's so much knowledge that was not passed down that I'm having to learn all these things in my 20s, in my 30s. Like, I'm having to learn as I go. And that does make me feel disconnected because people who have that history, people who can go to their great grandma, or people who can even look up things about their great grandparents. I don't even know my great grandparents' names, okay? So I'm definitely disconnected from my ancestors and disconnected from the generations that were before me. I'm also disconnected of where I was before, where my bloodline was before even coming to this country. Like, I don't know that either. I'm very excited to learn about that. And I'm also like allowing myself to learn about that in my own time. Like, I'm not like rushing it. More so that when I'm called to learn this information, I'm going to be willing to do it. I'm going to be willing to invest and learn more and ask questions and things of that nature. So I'm excited for that journey, but it's also scary because who knows what you're going to learn about your ancestors. Like, I might learn that I have a white granddaddy. I don't know. Like, I don't know these things. Or not, oh, well, not granddaddy. I know my grandparents. So great grandparents. I might have a white great great granddaddy, or a great white great great grandma, or a native great great. I don't know. I don't know these things because I don't know my ancestral roots. So that's where I feel most disconnected. I want you to ask yourself, where do you feel disconnected from your cultural or ancestral roots? And allow this to help you move forward, because the more deeply connected you feel to your bloodline, the easier it is to heal your romance, your relationship with your kids, your relationship with your partner, your relationship with your friends, how you show up for your community, how you show up for yourself. Like, a lot of that can be healed by just knowing more about your bloodline, by feeling more connected in your own body, feeling confident in who you are because you know more about your history. You know what your ancestors have overcome. You know the hurdles that they had to go through in order for you to live the life that you live today. So ask yourself, what do you feel disconnected from your cultural ancestral roots? And if you are following along with the journey, make sure you use the hashtag 31 days of shadow work and tag me at Keandra Ware. Y'all, we have one more day. We're wrapping it up tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to seeing y'all again for the very last day of our 31 days of shadow work series.